Oh. Ready or not, here I come. You can hide. Gonna find you here slowly. Taking a now. Find you here slowly. Taking a now. Find you here slowly. All right. We're gonna in the meantime, I'll put the, can't hear anything. Wow, that's impressive. Now let's see if I can hear myself. Can't hear anything. Wow, that's impressive. Now let's see if I can hear myself. Hey, oh, man, that's Ready or not, here I come. You can't hide. I'm gonna find you and take it slowly. Ready or not, here I come. You can't hide. I'm gonna find you and take it slowly.
Yo,
Hey,
okay, let's start. I really don't know where MacD is right now, and yeah, I'm kind of bothered to be honest.
the what?
But I can't hear you.
Really?
You muted yourself, I guess.
Hey,
Yeah, now I can hear you. Hmm.
um, what's going on here?
Hmm.
Just,
So, what's that background behind you?
I'm just taking a shit, you know?
My God, man.
No, I'm at a cafe actually.
Are you really?
Yeah, I got it all figured out, bro.
How?
Can you hear anything outside, aside from me?
Not really.
I have plenty of people over here talking, having a pleasant meal. And then I got some lovely um, um, cafe music playing, and you can't hear a single thing, huh?
Nothing.
Uh, magic, my brother.
So,
Magic.
what did you do?
Magic,
What did
my
you do?
brother.
That's good.
I will reveal my secret one of these days. But for today, I will let you contemplate on this.
All right. Hmm. I don't know where Magdi is. I contacted him and nothing. I can send him messages and try calling him, but I don't know.
What the heck is this? What's going on? Hmm. So what do I do with this one? Like that? I don't get it. Hmm. No. I'm still trying to play with this window here. Full screen. Okay, so we have that. And then we just bring that over to the front. I don't know about this window though. Delete that. Okay. Um, let's see my live broadcast.
Well, it's obvious that there's a
Delete
little bit
that.
of small, like some sound behind you, but not that much.
Yeah,
You
you
know, it's
can
like
it can
barely there.
it can just remove it. The what is it called?
Well, it's obvious that there's.
It's AI. It uses AI to
Hmm.
filter out the sound. I don't know how they engineer this thing. Like, pretty impressive.
Let me just do the bed. Give me a moment so the word not looks weird.
So I have desktop browser. Yeah, I think I just need my desktop. I don't need to have a separate browser um, uh, open, Windows open.
Hmm.
Okay, so now let's see if I can share my screen. There we go. But why is it so big? Why can't I minimize it? There we go. Perfecto. You like that background?
Mm, yeah,
Magic, my brother.
it looks pretty good though. Yeah. Yeah, so I guess that we can start. What topic would you like to talk about today?
Oh, okay. So I was planning on just showing you some links that I'm looking up at. So let's go find
Mm,
some weird news.
mm.
We can do anything. Um, what did you do today? Did you just finish teaching?
Today, today I went to the gym and well, I taught two classes in the morning and one class with Oscar, so those are three. And then before that I went to the gym.
Hmm.
I did a leg workout, deadlifts and squats and leg press, those things. And I had my dinner, prayed, and that's it. What did you do?
Oh, what the hell? Maybe I'll
Oh my god.
get out of this. I just chill at the cafe. I was doing some reading this article about the coming uh divide within the states, um,
Hmm. Mm.
and how the country is becoming very um heavily leaning towards one side or the other, and there's like no balance of both systems.
Yeah.
And basically that it's leading towards populism and um, class divisions. You know, you got the poor class um, despising the upper class, and then you got the upper class also looking down on the lower class because we don't have
Hmm.
a middle class no longer have a middle class. So
So aren't we both you and I aren't we supposed to be from the middle class?
I don't know, but like I don't know. Is middle class is it defined by how much you work, average, or how much you make?
How much you make and how much free time you have, and what have you purchased, and how much you have in the bank.
Yeah, so by definition, in in Canada, right? That's the most familiar reference that I have is a middle class lifestyle is someone who can afford a house or a mortgage, and they can
Hmm.
also be working the standard 40 hours per week um, lifestyle while making, I think, is it six figure? Just breaking six figure income. Now, after taxes,
Breaking six figure, you
after,
become. That means you're already rich. When you make six figure, that means you are in the rich, but a lower tier of rich.
yeah, lower tier.
Of rich, but you're already rich.
I'm trying to think, is that? I can't remember if that was middle class. I'm not too sure. I don't remember. Um,
I don't think that's a middle class. Maybe middle high or low rich, I guess. Yeah. But definitely we could afford mortgage. We could work 40 hours a week and we're making more than enough. So I guess we're still in somewhere hanging in the middle class, which obviously disappeared in lots of countries and places, you know.
but mind you, how you define a middle class back then is completely different from how it is defined now. Because if you want to take a look at how housing affordability, well,
Mm,
back then houses cost a lot less, but the interest rate on a single mortgage was a lot higher. So the payment that you make, it balances out, but
hmm
back then it was only like um how many percent of your income, monthly payment. It was not much. I think when my mom was when she bought her place, um interest rates at that time was around 15 to 20%.
mm,
And she bought her house for, I think, for 40, wait, 400, by one, 400, no, 4 million? Yeah, 4 million NT. Now
hmm
that's two floors, right? We have the
mm.
fifth floor and then the sixth floor, which is basically the roof, and then we just built like a middle roofing over it. Um, but I mean,
So it's basically 2 million each.
yeah, I think it was. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Mm,
But at the same time, you got to consider interest rates was 20% at that time, and over time it gradually dropped. It decreased. This is how usually it works. Like you you would have you would have ebb and flows. Basically, within the economy, you have times when interest rates are high, and then you have times when interest rates are low. But the price of things works inverse to where interest rates are. So if interest rates are high, the cost of buying or loaning something is a bit lower. So cars and houses cost a lot less, but interest rates were
mm,
higher. Um,
mm.
same
So, in your opinion, in the was it harder in the past or nowadays?
harder in the past or nowadays. It's still hard. It's become harder over time because you have, so as I was saying, with interest rate and cost of things, it can go up and down like that, but you have the depreciation of the currency going down like at a constant flow, a steady flow.
Mm,
As you print more money, the value of the currency decreases. Meanwhile, interest rates
yeah,
kind of has this balance up and down um, changes throughout times, and that's due to
yeah,
different reasons. It's more relating to um, macroeconomic. It's the intention behind it is so that they drop interest rate in times when they want to um, stimulate the economy. They want to lend down more loans. They want to make borrowing much easier, right? And then by the
mm,
end of it, when it reaches an extreme point where people are just loaning monies without um, being cautious or aware of who they are lending it to, and also people who are borrowing money are also not becoming becoming less cautious. You know, they're just reckless um borrowing. So you have car loans, credit cards, high student loan debt, um, overpriced houses because they've been bid up over time due to the interest rate going down, and then eventually you'll reach a breaking point where then that's when central bank come in and do this so-called rescued by raising the interest rate back up so then they can get rid of all of these bad debt. And a lot of people will have to go bankrupt or take out another loan, refinance, or um, borrow from someone else. But it's essentially like a
Hmm.
wipeout, a washout of bad loans. Central banks will take over and buy up these bad debts. They will buy
Yeah.
the debt from the government and also from banks. See, the central bank is linked to the private banks. They have a connections. And how it works is that the central banking system, they'll say, okay, I'm gonna buy up all these bad loans that you have from the banks, right? And then the banks will um how does it work? The banks will give these bad loans to the central banks. The central bank will put these bad loans on the international markets for bond buyers around the world to buy bad U.S. debt, right? So they buy these bad U.S. debt, and because the central bank now has risen the interest rates, these debt that they buy from the bad banks they will have to guarantee higher interest rates to the global bondholders or bond buyers, and that's how they attract buyers of U.S. debt. All right. Now, then which means now the citizens, U.S. citizens will have to work harder to um, give more money to the government. So then the government then will use what they tax from the citizens to pay off these bondholders, right? Because you're buying a U.S. debt at a high interest rate, you're expecting to make 7% instead of 2% before. So before COVID, interest rates was around 2%. After COVID,
Mm.
the US government or the US Federal Reserve had to come in and rescue the US government by lending or buying up the bad debt. See, and this is how it works. The central bank buys up the bad debt, and what does that do? It creates these things called um, uh, it's another type of paper, right? The Federal Reserve, the central bank, cannot print money. They buy up the bad debt from the U.S. government, right? The U.S. government then use that to print money. The U.S. government can. Oh wait, no. Oh man, it's so complicated. Like this, the banking system is fucked up.
So, hmm. Did you know that in the past, people were able to buy to buy a house and pay their mortgage off of their own 9 to 5 jobs in the
Yeah,
70s in America.
yeah. You had a single family, a single um parent, right? Income.
Yeah.
And now you have,
Until now
yep.
in Egypt, they try to live like that. Hmm.
I was funny enough, I was just thinking about it today. I'm like, was this all part of the plan before this it got to this point, right? Like they wanted to promote the idea of both genders working, right? So then the central banks
Hmm.
could eventually um,
Make more.
make more and keep this whatever this game, yeah, this charade going.
If for some reasons all women quit working, everything goes back and the whole system gets fucked.
Oh, it would collapse. It would collapse very quick.
Yeah. And then they have to start again something new. But they already made a bet and it's working. They were able to manipulate the people into believing in to whatever it's called equality or whatever bullshit they call,
Yeah,
just to make just to get those extra $1 trillion.
but that's through years of manipulation, right? Like promoting dual household income. I think it started
Hmm.
maybe in the 70s, 80s, around there, and
Yeah.
modernization. Uh, so I don't know what's next. What's next? Because you already have the two parents working with dual income, already struggling to um, keep up with their payments, right? And I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know what's the end game here. Like, are they just, is this part of the whole population control thing too? Because it's convincing people to have less kids, right?
Of course. So the next thing is once everyone is so desperate, they will have to wage a war, and you start World War III, and then you diminish the population of the people, maybe through biowarfare like COVID or whatever they are planning right now. As you and I are talking, they are planning a new virus that would really eradicate and kill lots of people, but they also have to have the proper antidote
For
for the
themselves.
valuable people. Exactly. So, yeah. And as time goes by, all of those nations who given into the idea of the resources are not enough, the life expenses is very hard or whatever they're saying, those nations will eventually cease to exist. And the
Eventually.
only nations that would, yeah, because when wars happen and people die, you don't have new like other people, and people will be so scared to have kids. What happens now? Those countries that don't have enough population, they will not be there any longer. You will be only left with that same generation, whoever it was left of them, and then you will find the countries that still are living under the normal circumstances, having giving birth and doing all of that. Those are the ones who would be prospering because they have a lot of manpower, so they could serve their country, prosper together, advance together. Whereas those people would be also very valuable to other countries because now those countries would be in desperate need of having people to migrate to their place, so they would rebuild the country.
That's
You
one
see what I'm saying?
that's one way of um it happening, or one Yeah, that was
But
one
actually,
occurrence.
there are only three nations in the world, or three places in the world that are still giving birth. The older, I mean, Africa as a continent, because they're still living in their own pace and doing whatever they want, giving birth with those big numbers. And you have the Arabs also, and you only have the Jews, nothing else. Maybe the Indians, maybe.
But one thing I do want to
But even the
mention,
Indians,
what
mm,
actually happened after World War II was that there was a growth or a massive um, growth of people having births, right? It happens after war, but not during war. What happens is that because so many people gets wiped out, um, that kind of like I don't know what happened, but it it kind of like encouraged people to have kids. That's why like your father's generation was the silent generations. Like I study this a little
yes.
bit. They gave birth to the baby boomers, and baby boomers
Hmm.
was the bigger. They were the bigger population as far as like all the generations goes, all the way to now. And millennials, we're just right behind um, the population growth curve for the different generations, but baby boomers were the biggest because the silent generations, many nations went to war during the World War II, and there were that um, encouraged a lot of people to have kids actually, um,
Yeah.
especially in
and
Russia.
that's where and that's where they promoted also for the equality and all of that crap. And that was all part of the plan.
Hmm.
Make them feel that they are diminishing, so we need all the resources. Okay, men and women are equal. Oh, okay, everyone just come to work, we need your money. So this is how they made lots of money. Now they don't need us any longer because they made more than enough, so they want to
Yeah,
get rid of most of us and diminish the number to 500 million people on earth. 500 million from 8 billion now. I don't know how many billion, I forgot.
yeah. It's let me just see by generation.
Yeah.
It's a pretty neat chart to look at, but regardless, it is yeah, we are at a crossroad right now between or
Hmm.
or seeing if we're going to be transforming towards an economy that relies on robots.
Robots. Hmm.
Yeah, so like humans, I mean AI, artificial intelligence replacing humans.
That's gonna happen already. I mean, we believe that, or I believe that, big corporations, or let's say big entities like BlackRock or whatever, those big entities,
Hmm.
um, who are using the strongest leaders in the world as puppets. Their aim is to build a barrier between them and us so they could be living comfortably as much as they want while putting the AI in between. And as time goes on, the less connected we are to them until they literally build a wall and nobody knows what's happening right now. And they control those AI. And we would be facing their orders without being able to revolt against them because we don't know where they are any longer. We have no power over them, and the AI would outnumber us.
Yeah, or just
and you won't be able to fight AIs.
keep us kind of um um they'll round us up kind of secluded in a certain area, and then they will control the natural resource to
Hmm.
themselves. And yeah, they just it
They
would
will
just
enslave us.
I think so. I think the class divide will just get worse unless something dramatic happens,
Hmm.
like people
Well,
revolt
as
or
long
whatever.
as they will, I don't think people would revolt because basically they have been able to successfully keep us under because they were slowly adding small changes, but over the time people can't notice that. Whereas if they decided to come up with something just like that, we would be able to react immediately. But they're so smart to keep us under while continuing with their plans over and over and so on. Yeah. Now the question is, yeah, and one more thing. Speaking of which, or of the freedom of speech or whatever, those kind of topics, if those kind of topics are banned in the Western countries, anyone who tries to talk and expose those things and they start having lots of followers, they would be immediately shut down. And that's how they kept growing by making other people believe in the West as the promoters of the freedom of speech. But there is no freedom of speech if the speech threatens their own existence. That's this is how the empire has been running. And a lot of people won't be noticing that until it's too late.
Yeah, I read some interesting here with this article today. It was they would say, okay, populism and extremism, and how the political divides between the left and the right would become more extreme, so that whoever gains power over whichever class or whichever system, like communism or fascism, takes over, will basically buy out the news medias in order to gain the narrative, and then find the what they will try to do is to use that to find a common enemy to blame how things became the way they did, or they how things became the way, yeah, they did. So right here it says populist, communist, right, control of media, establish ministries of propaganda. The media they produced was explicitly aimed at turning the population against the group that the government considered enemies of the state. Ministry of Information during World War I, World War II spread government propaganda. Leading newspaper publishers were elevated by government if they did what the government wanted them to do to win the propaganda war, or were vilified and suffered if they didn't cooperate. Yeah, like you were saying, the government in well, in normal times and both in extreme times will try to have the upper hands and um, create the narrative. But um, it becomes more dramatic when things are when a society or civilization is becoming so distorted between the the, the different wealth class.
They would always try to polarize or use those rich people and give them more power as long as they serve their own dirty agendas. That's why Bill Gates has always been known for having an unclean, terrible history. You know, Bill Gates.
Yeah,
person who people. Mm,
that, that, but we are only aware of that because the internet exists, and even to this day, they're still trying to put him in a positive light, make him seem like he's a hero, right? He has all these charities, foundations, and whatever. He does all these commercials for um, um, vaccines, vaccine developments.
now, exactly.
Have you seen the commercial that
Now
he
the
did with uh, fake meat, vegan meat?
n- no, I haven't, but I know that they have to polish his looks and make him look so presentable so everyone would love him. Because nowadays people are so gullible that they are so superficial and so naive that they would just follow whatever is. They would follow their emotions exactly. The most of the people stopped becoming logical and they became more emotional. Now, oh, look at this man. He's taking care of the poor people. Look how nice he is. Look at those Africans who are starving. He has fed millions and billions of them. Guess what? This man is the best. So now, when you have this image, and the people would just believe whatever they see because they never try to research or look after whatever the media says or portrays. So, whatever this guy says, he becomes a saint. You made a villain, you turned a villain into a saint. And
Mm.
this is how it happens. Yeah, this is basically what has happened. And a lot of people believe in that. And they would always believe those people are really good people or whatever. So we are literally nowadays living in the era of not being able to believe anything. As long as you see something, you have to double check it, maybe quadra check it. You have to check the things 1 million times before giving in, and you have to do lots of researches. And even the internet that they control starts restricting lots of things from the pop, like from people. Google has start restricting lots of things, searches. So it gets even harder because when you try seeking out those true answers or facts, it would be harder to get compared to the life in the past, I would say. I mean, but at least the life in the past, well, it was also hard in a different way. So basically, what people are doing right now, those people are playing gods. So because they have the money, the power, the influence, and the connection, they get to control and decide and dictate how we would live and what we should eat and everything. And they are the only beneficiaries out of this whole scheme or agenda, whatever you want to call it. It's pretty sad though. Yeah. Hmm. So nowadays, yes, as you've realized, Italy right now is one of the countries that are promoting fascism again. Like the new prime minister is leaning towards the right wing, and she has got lots of followers, and they are really trying to reignite Mussolini's era in modern days time. The funny fact that I don't know how the NATO, despite knowing their progressive changes, they still allowed them to remain in the within the Euro nations. You know what I mean?
You're saying that
Euro. Mhm.
what's going on with Italy, but they're still keeping them within NATO.
Exactly. Mhm. Are they trying to promote fake diversity? Are they trying to promote something which is so fake? Or is it all masked under we are so-called fascists, but we also serve the NATO agenda just to show that we also accept diversity? So it's some kind of manipulation because if we just look at the picture, there is no way we would just believe or give into what we just see. And this is what they're expecting of normal people. And one more thing I want to say, whoever tries to revolt against the system, as we mentioned before, they have three ways to silence him: either to threaten him, or jail him, imprison him, lock him, or put him into a mental health, mental psych ward.
Asylum,
So everyone
mental
would be,
institution.
yeah, exactly. So people would just believe that that person has gone crazy, nuts. That's it. It's an easy way to gain the crowd. That's it.
Um,
And
yeah.
mhm.
What was that? You finish
and
your point.
yeah, one of the things that they're also promoting for is they're using the actors, the singers, those movie stars are getting paid billions and millions of dollars just to promote whatever they want, and they're using those directors to try to keep going on brainwashing everyone's thoughts into believing whatever the movies are trying to show.
Yeah, it doesn't help.
So,
Either or ways. Like both sides are promoting their own agenda and spreading their own propaganda. Like it doesn't mean that if Trump gets elected, the country will get better. I mean, I think it will become more traditional, more conservative, but at the same time, Trump essentially is it's still someone who wants to maintain the status quo, keep everything um
in
keep,
order.
keep everything in order. Yeah. I mean, the few things that he's preaching for. Um, I don't know. It feels like, but it confuses me now that there has been this assassination attempt. Now, if it's set up and whether or not Donald Trump knows it, I don't think so because it's too you have to be such a pro to miss someone while they're turning their head. So I think there is somebody out there that is truly trying to stop Trump from getting into the office. But at the same time, was saying is that it's either his side wins or the other side wins. Either or, it's not. It's still you still don't have like a real reset. Everything is prices are manufactured. Um, the currency are still consistently being devalued. Um, and the narrative for the news that we are being fed is not it's not true. Um, um, we don't know what is true to be at the end of the day, especially globally. Global news is like, how the hell are you supposed to even know what happens, in these countries that are having conflicts like Ukraine and Russia and Israel and Palestine, because
Afghanistan.
yeah, because back then when I was growing up in Canada, all we were fed were just these war propaganda like, the Iraq war and um terrorism, all this stuff, you know. And back then, it was much easier, much more easier to manipulate people to to
Yeah, of
to
course.
go in one certain direction. Now, nowadays, it is still very easy to manipulate, but I think instead of going one direction, we're even more lost. Like we're just like, I don't even know which one to choose.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So one of the reasons that I would say, I know, despite being a terrible person, Trump really did some heinous, terrible things in the past, but he was able to control the world properly. Putin really respected him and he feared him and he was intimidated by him. He was the only president who was able to step in and go to North Korea and meet Kim Jong Un. He
Mm,
was the only one who was able to do that. And he was able to maintain some agreements with North Korea. No one else was able to do that. He also was able to do the same with Xi Jinping. And when he was a president, Russia wouldn't dare to attack Ukraine back then because he was always intimidating, right? Afghanistan, they couldn't do anything. But the moment he left and everyone started observing the new president, who literally doesn't know what he's saying, they just know that America doesn't have any president. There is no system there. As long as you're being run by liberals, liberalism to this extreme level, you would have no military, no system, nothing.
yeah.
Of course, there's some advantages that comes out of it, but still, the country became so bad and so weak right now in America, and everyone is just taking advantage of them because there is no more their military. If the country is like this, like why would I even care? They're
Mm.
they no longer pose threat to the outside world. That's the point. So, and there's some conspiracies behind moving the power from the United States to another place, but they're just speculations. Nothing, there isn't anything confirmed yet. However, they are trying to expand the state of Israel into making it as big as so big. And there are lots of speeches about it. They want to go until the borders of Mecca to Saudi Arabia, go capture half of Egypt from the eastern side all the way to River Nile, and then capture lots of places of Iraq, and from the north go all the way to Turkey. That would be a very big country if that happens. And they're trying to minimize the world's population. And when that happens, then the state of Israel becomes the new United States, the new world order.
I was gonna ask, like, have you heard what do people think? What do they say about like Joe Biden in over in the Middle East? Like, do you read any Arabic news? Just what are their takes on how?
If you're talking about the news from the governments or the news from the people's opinion, they're two
Yeah,
different. And
like, but how, from a people, how would you get a opinion being
from the
spread around
Mhm.
to others? Because I know you guys ban certain informations from being talked about online, right?
Yeah, so those people basically go live in European countries such as or American
Oh, okay, yeah.
or America, such as Bassem Youssef. He's a very popular political activist nowadays, and he talks a lot about those things. And he proved in numbers and facts that hmm, nowadays people really don't care about America. People used to be scared of how to say harming American citizens, or they would just because the government we used to glorify the Americans or whatever whoever work for the NATO because they're the ones who are supporting us, the governments. I mean, our governments. So the governments would always warn their own local citizens to stay away from the Westerners. But nowadays, ever since Biden's became the president, no one cares. Anything could happen nowadays, you know. Of course, the government still would have to protect the Americans or the Westerners, but the locals themselves, they don't see America as a great threat any longer. They just see them as a big joke.
Yeah.
That's it. And now they are able to challenge America. Back then, people were so scared of the idea of doing that, but nowadays, like, there is no America now. There is no soldiers. There is nothing. And if they started a nuclear war, they would lose it because it's back and forth. You know, it's your nuclear versus our nuclear. So it's if you're gonna fight like that, it's gonna be both casualties. But if you're gonna have a proxy wars, the Americans would definitely lose it because people are so marshmallows. This is what people call them nowadays. The Americans are like the soldiers or the people are so liberal and they became so soft that they became marshmallows. So we can like people stop taking them seriously. As for our governments, they would always say America is so strong and whatever. But now the president will start having some controversial things, such as the Egyptian president or whatever Jordanian president challenged the American government by saying we will cut down the petrol and we will not give you any more oil. And they start threatening them. And the Saudi prince and MBS and the Egyptian president started strengthening their relationship with Putin and Xi Jinping. So they
Or,
started selling them also other things. So now the Americans, they kept threatening the Arabs that they would fight war against him. So back then, people wouldn't even dare to take such a step. But nowadays, the prince just told America, "Go do whatever you want. You're just, you know, full of shit. You can't do anything."
yeah, I mean, if you have Biden, like, is he even the is he even doing any like peace talks? Is he even communicating with all these world leaders? Like, did he talk to anyone during these 4 years? Did he talk to Putin? You know, did he talk to some of these Arabic countries' leaders? I mean, I think I've seen pictures of him, going around taking pictures with the more peaceful countries of course, but not with Russia.
Mhm.
Um, the guy, I don't know if he can even make it across the world, right, to take these pictures.
That's the point. Yeah.
And he can't
Yeah.
even go out in public when he's doing a speech and just say, "Oh, yesterday I have proven facts that I talked to someone from this country, the leader of this country, the leader of that country." But no, all you get is just him showing up at these NATO meetings, just taking pictures. He doesn't he doesn't
Exactly.
he doesn't give the citizen of US like confidence and strength and backbones to feel like you're a powerful nation.
Yeah. So the idea of the ultimate supremacy of the United States is no longer, it doesn't exist any longer. Not anymore. So based on that, lots of things start, it's like a dominoes. It starts falling piece by piece.
Well,
The
this,
first thing
assuming
happened is,
assuming that
mhm.
Trump is not someone who's like another puppet set up, um, I guess for the old right or for the total world new world order, whatever, right? Um, assuming if he's not, then this is someone who's from just all the things that he's been doing, that will try to bring back some pride and confidence in for the people in the nation itself. But the why I say that it feels like it's a setup at the same time is because you see this happen everywhere. Like in Canada, we have the same problem, the same issues. You have ultra liberalism, and now they're going to ultra conservatism. So that's why it feels like it's set up. But from reading this article that I'm looking at, is they say that this is a very typical thing. He's looked through 50 different civil wars in the past, and he's come to this conclusion that near the end, right, of a well-established um, empire or civilization, it becomes much more polarized, like you were saying. Um, so I don't know what it's going to be like with Trump in office for the next 4 year, but I can I can tell you for sure it's definitely a lot better than having that zombie for another four
Of course.
years. Lazy Joe, whatever Trump likes to call him. Sleepy Joe. Sleepy Joe, that's what he calls him.
He is a sleepy Joe. I really can't believe how ridiculous the government is. I mean, whenever the reporters try to ask Biden about a question, they would ask him, for example, how was the ice cream? Did it taste good? Share with us the best flavor that you like. And once they started talking to Trump, oh, Mr. President, I'm warning you, the questions are gonna be so tough. And then he said, oh, give me a break. So you go ask Joe Biden about his ice cream? Come on, give me a break.
Yeah.
And starts talking, starts talking like that. And it really gets so funny. Like they really ask him some political questions. It is as if the lobby, the American lobby, they're trying to push liberalism to happen, so they would make it fall. But it's not the American lobby. It's whatever you want to call them, the secret society that rules the world. This is what they're trying to do. They're slowly trying to move the supremacy from here to there somewhere. And once, if, let's say, if Israel succeeded, they will have their new own Suez Canal. That means they become the literal, they have all the power in the world. They are in the center of the world. They're surrounded by lots of people, other countries, and they will slowly say that those countries are posing threats to us. So we need your help so we could expand, and then keeps getting bigger and bigger. And once you control three continents route, like the naval route, that would be insane. As we said before, they're trying to build a canal from the wide Mediterranean Sea all the way to the Red Sea. And then they're also trying to expand from the west and the east, so they will control the trading routes from all over the world. Even the Chinese Silk Road would be threatened. I don't know how what would happen in the future if that really kept moving forward. But it is what it is. I think they needed to have a pause because the UK was the older ruler, and the UK suffered a lot during those two world wars. So they had to move the supremacy from the UK to one of its own, let's say, kind, which is America. And America made Israel, so, or the UK and America made Israel, so they have to continue passing it to the next one. Yeah. What are your
I'm
thoughts and comments on this?
I'm just curious now if that China's Silk Road project is still going. Road Initiative. Yeah, I wonder where they're at now. Belt and Road Initiative. One road, one belt. So, okay, so we have a corridor here. Now, I don't know if they are, yeah, I think they are just highways, maybe, or railroads. I'm not sure what they are. But I
But as you saw that black line that you drew, that you showed us right now, the black line there, one of them, the
oh
bottom
okay.
one, which is in the Middle East, would be under Israel. That means there's no long. This whole line will be cut out. Plus, the line that connects Asia to Europe also would be under Israel. So all of this part would be cut out. That means you are also cutting out the whole Silk Road. It would no longer exist. That's going to be a huge problem.
This one would be discontinued, or would be blocked probably, as you were saying, somewhere around
Of
here.
course.
But Israel's
And the
here.
second one?
This one?
No, yes, this one also would be removed because
Why?
when Israel goes all the because Israel would go all the way south,
They want to
going
take
all the way
over
to
Pakistan?
Saudi to Yemen. Hmm, what part is that? Oh, okay. That line I think would not be interrupted, but okay, could you enlarge that screen so I could see better? Yeah. Okay, so the middle line, as you said, that would be removed, but
Still,
the
this is
southern,
more
hmm,
important though. This is very important.
of course, you cut out the access from northern Africa and southern Europe. Of course, that's very important. It's a huge.
Maritime Silk Road. So I don't know, what does this mean? I think they're just establishing um ports or military,
This blue line,
you know.
yeah, this blue line also would be canceled because you will have to pass eventually. Now they pass through Egypt because they're on good terms with Egypt. This blue line goes to Egypt, you see?
Oh, okay.
Now, when you that's the point. So when Israel makes their new thing, it would remove the Suez Canal and then they would replace it. They would have a better one.
Okay, let's see where they are
Um,
at now. Just reaction project. Oh, that's a big, big project, so it's not going to be done, that quick. Um, I don't know, maybe another 10 years, I suppose. Uh,
mm,
One belt, one road. Yeah, this is for sure. It's against the West, because this is
of
supporting
course.
China in Russia.
And the West are so far away. So they need to move themselves physically so they would be in the middle of the action, you know? So where's that new place?
Okay.
Basically, it is Israel.
All right. So with like bricks and everything, um, I guess this will unite most of these countries, or to at least make them move away from um, Western domination.
Hmm. And nowadays, I mean, ever since Biden became a president, as I told you, the leaders are slowly shifting their alliances with from the west to the east. So they are
Yeah,
slowly uniting with China and Russia, and that's posing a huge threat. Now, back then, when it was Trump's time, he would have punished the Arabs severely if they started doing something like that. He would go and promise them some wars or cutting relationships, or he would do something. I'm not saying that is, of course, in the Arabs' benefits, but I mean, I was talking how powerful he was as a leader.
yeah, he would set sanctions
Hmm. Yeah, and
or impose
as
taxes
I
on imports from those
yeah,
countries.
exactly. But you cannot do it as an American. You know, you need to be physically there. And let's not forget that Trump was also the first president who moved the American embassy from Tel Aviv in Israel to in modern days Israel to Jerusalem, which was the capital of Palestine. So by doing that, he is approving to the whole world that Jerusalem is the new capital of Israel, and he slowly diminished Palestine.
Hmm.
That's like a huge slap in the face of all the Arab leaders, and they couldn't do anything because he was powerful.
Hmm.
That is a fact.
Yeah. Yeah. He signed that paper, right? Recognizing Israel as
Yeah.
a independent nation.
Yes, and diminishing the Palestinian lands and borders.
Right.
So he moved the capital city from Tel Aviv, and then he moved it to Jerusalem. That's a holy sacred place for all religions around the world. Yeah. Now the
Hmm.
question is, there was also another post that I've read which said Putin is trying to reignite the USSR again after capturing Ukraine. After fully capturing Ukraine, he would start to assemble the USSR again. Now, the question is, how would the people try to stop him from doing that? And the second question is, would China help him? Or would China think that he's posing a huge threat?
He's bringing back communism, full-on communism.
Yes. And he wants to recapture all of the countries that signed for their independence.
Okay, I think that's what is the real intention. It's recapturing those nation that was under the control of
Soviet
USSR,
Union.
Soviet Union. I
Mhm,
don't think they're going back to full communism. It's impossible for them because it was failing, um,
mhm.
big time. But recapturing those territories, that would make sense.
Yeah, but the question is, would China let him do that? To what extent would they agree? And when will it happen? When will it be until Russia just realizes that it's too powerful and strong?
Let's
And
see, how much did they own back then?
Central Asia, almost all of Central Asia belonged to the USSR. Most of them.
Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Belarus, Ukraine,
Moldova.
Georgia. Most of these countries, I only hear them during soccer World Cup.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
see these names, these flags, or Olympic
But Armenia is a big name, by the way.
Armenia, you know.
Mm. Then you also have Azerbaijan. Then number 11, Kazakhstan is a very big. You see how big that place is? That's
Yeah,
huge, man.
but they own these nations, but there were some of these what was that called? The Belgium Wall? No, that what's that wall called? Um
Berlin Wall?
Berlin Wall, yeah.
Yeah, Eastern Germany.
And there were still
Mhm.
some other countries too, right? That was split between, was it just,
I think so, yeah. We could read more about it because I don't remember. Yeah.
okay, so Germany was, yeah, Germany was split, but I was just Curious if there were other nations other than Germany that was split during this USSR time. So Germany is um I forgot where's Germany. Is it it's south, right? It's not north. It's this piece, or is it this piece? It's this one, isn't it?
I think so. Maybe.
What country is
Yeah.
down here? This is
Okay,
closer
let's look it
to
up.
this is closer to um oh, Poland. Maybe this no, Poland would be beside
Pol
Germany.
Poland also was part of
The USSR
Poland
divide,
was also
right?
yes, of course. Poland was part of the USSR. That's the first country Hitler attacked, and he captured Poland. But you are looking at the USSR after the World War, not before the World War.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm trying to figure out what country was split. I think it was only Germany,
You
right?
also you also have actually there were two countries. There's Slovakia and Czech Republic. Those two were under one name, which was called Czechoslovakia before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so those, and there was one country called Yugoslavia, which doesn't exist any longer. Yugoslavia.
So if Russia tries to recapture, there, that's a lot of countries they're basically trying to take over again. Now, does that mean they're going to wage war against these countries?
Probably to retain them, or maybe they would convince them politically. Maybe they would try to politically tell them we should reunite and we will take care of you or whatever, because lots of those countries are living in utmost poverty nowadays. Uzbekistan is one of them also.
Hmm. Okay, so this one is Romania, and then the one north here
Which one?
is this one is Romania here, and then this one
Hmm.
is
Yeah.
Poland, and then Germany was over here. So I think USSR did control Poland, right?
The USSR, yes, it did control Poland, yes. Hmm. Because that was from the story of the World War. Hitler, he captured Poland. That was his first country that he captured.
And then they gave Poland to Russia after
Poland
the
was a free
war.
country after the World War.
Oh,
I
okay.
think it was a free country. Yeah,
So how does that work though?
but
How do you have Germany, half of Germany under Russia, but the other countries here are not under the control of Russia? Well, they are
which country? Okay,
except for Poland.
Czechia was part of the USSR.
Yeah,
Austria was part of the USSR
y-
after that,
yeah,
and
Slovakia, Hungary, I think. All of those.
Hungary, Romania. Exactly. So all of this was part of the older USSR, and Germany had to break them piece by piece. So basically, it was either the Nazi or the USSR or the Allied nations, the remaining part of the
Oh,
world.
I forgot about the older USSR.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
There was pre
Mhm.
before World War II and then after World War II.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh,
Before World War II was
timeline.
ridiculous. It was massively huge.
Oh, anyways. So, okay. So I suppose they're trying to recapture before?
Exactly.
That's a lot.
S- Let's slowly get back into that. Now the question is, would China support Russia with that?
Yeah,
Would North Korea try to capture South Korea? And what would
man.
Japan do? That's another question. Would they want to get back to they would this I think they used to have a dream of conquering lots of places in Asia. Would they get back to that again or not? Would they get back to the ruthless old Japanese samurai era, or would they remain as the cute, nice, respectable people like nowadays?
Can you hear some background noise? Just curious.
Little bit,
Little
yeah,
bit, eh?
sometimes. Hmm.
But it's not overbearing.
No,
Like you can withstand. Like it's not annoying to
yeah.
you.
I think you could start teaching AMC classes here. Oh my god.
That was my ultimate goal.
And
But
then you'll sign, and then someone will just come and say, "Oh, you are taking pictures. Let me come and say hi to the camera." And then
oh my god. Oh my god.
yeah, that would be so funny. You see how big it was?
What?
Ridiculous. Yes, almost everywhere.
They control some of these nations?
Yes,
What does that mean?
that mean that America saw them as the biggest threat. That's why they had to decompose them and get rid of them, and then they started working on their plans.
No, I think this is imaginary maps. This is I think what they were try to eventually control. Um, but anyways, I think it was just this Czechoslovakia and then Germany. Yeah, Berlin.
I am pretty sure Poland was part of Stalin's empire.
Oh,
Poland was part of it because Hitler just said, "I need to take Poland because it poses huge threat," and Stalin said, "Okay." He just allowed it to happen, so he gave it to him.
it says it's never part of it, but was under the
No, it's
influence.
under the influence. I see. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So when they were under the influence, that's when Hitler went and captured them.
yeah.
I see.
Demarcation. I remember learning something about this. The Soviet entered eastern region of Poland. Okay, annexed territories, 13 million people.
Hmm.
So yeah, Russia took over and just stopped. I think they stopped the Germans for the time being.
Yeah.
But then I think Germany eventually still took over it all, and then they start expanding more eastward, and that's how they reached Russia, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. That was their gateway or their entry to Russia. It was to take over Poland. That was the quickest way to get through for the Germans. I remember.
Yes.
So they had to take over Poland in order to invade Russia.
Hmm.
But the big mistake Hitler made was trying to take Russia, but at the same time trying to invade the United Kingdom.
Yes. While still facing the threat in the south. You see, there was a story about Erwin Rommel. This is one of the most popular generals that Hitler had, the best.
Hmm.
Have you heard that name before?
No,
Erwin Rommel.
no.
Rommel. That guy was so sneaky and sly that he knew how to retreat without making huge loss, and he knew how to capture places. He tried to capture the northern parts of Africa, and He was able to he successfully managed to take huge part of it, but then after that, the British sent another general, Montgomery, who was able to fend him back and kick him out of the northern coast of Africa. Because you see, Hitler said, if we captured the northern part of Africa and we made peace with the North Africans, who hate the British Empire at the same time, and we were able to penetrate that, that would secure our southern part. That means there is no threat from the south. So we can only fend the north and the northern area. So, but the UK realized that, and then they started attacking from the north and from the southern part of Germany through the North African coasts,
Because UK
because you know
owned
that, yeah,
territories in the south in Africa, right? At that time. So they used their
yes,
soldiers from the south to go up north.
exactly. The UK plus France, but France was almost like
Oh, right.
France already fell under Germany, but they still had their their
Military
troops
and
who,
troops. Hmm.
yeah, who ruled some northern parts in Africa
Oh, okay. So like Algeria,
and
Morocco, right? Tunisia.
Tunisia and
Hmm.
Mauritius, I think. Yeah. So you have three
Oh,
countries or all of
what
those places.
those places were after um the Lawrence Agreement, whatever that is called, the PICO,
Exactly. Sykes-Picot. Yeah.
Sykes-Picot. So after the
Sykes.
Sykes-Picot, France gained those places, territory to those
Exactly.
places, and then
Yes. And the UK took the rest.
and then when Germany, when World War II came around, that's when they were able to utilize the troops from the south to fight upwards.
Exactly. And this is where Germany was like they realized that they lost and Hitler couldn't take it, and some rumors said that he committed suicide. Nobody knows the truth until now because nobody has ever found his dead body until this
So
day.
does that
Yeah.
mean that if the Sykes-Picot agreement never happened, does that mean that there was a good chance that Germany would have taken over the world?
That would mean that Germany wouldn't have lost their First World War because they were allies with the Ottomans, and the Ottomans Empire would have still existed.
Oh, right.
You see? So the Ottomans were with Germany as if like the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So Germany were the friends because they were enemies of the British Empire.
No, World War II wouldn't have happened because yeah, Germany, if they didn't take down Germany in World War One, Hitler would have never um rise to power and be so angry against the
Mm.
world or the
He was a
sanctions.
soldier. He was
Yeah,
a
he was a
soldier in the
soldier
German
during World
army.
War One. Yeah, yeah, he was.
Yeah. And he participated in those so-called long trenches wars. They
Trench
had trenches,
trench warfare. Yeah, that was popular back in World War
yeah,
One. That's how they fought against each other, and it was the only way until
the boring way.
until they beat the uh, I mean warfare became more modernized. I think it was after the invention of tanks. Tanks were
Hmm.
was able to go over hills and these barbed wires trenches. They're just fucking crush
Exactly.
these soldiers and just roll right over them, right?
And that time, Germany was winning the war, but when Ottomans lost control of the northern parts of Africa, it was a huge turnover.
Hmm. Can you hear anything now?
And I heard someone was talking to you, I guess.
Yeah, now they're like right beside me, so I'm just testing out the sound still, so just to see how it goes.
Yeah. What is someone sitting at your same table with you at the same table?
No, because I'm literally sitting by the trash the trash cans where people
Oh.
will put their leftover food and whatever drop off. And I'm by the
So
stairway.
is it a restaurant?
I found this cafe and they serve food here actually. It's pretty
What
nice
time do they
place.
close?
They close late too. They close at 10.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's perfect.
it's a decent spot, so I'm still trying to
Yeah,
find the exact right corner to hide.
yeah. Hmm.
But you know what? I mean, I'll just come up with some stupid excuse like, "Oh, I'm in the office," right?
Yeah.
I could get away with right
Would
that,
anyone
right?
even notice?
As I'm
Yeah, of
talking to
course.
you, you feel like it doesn't feel like it makes a difference, right?
No, it doesn't. Yeah. I think it's pretty quiet and it's good. Yeah.
And my voice
Mm.
is clear, it's not low.
No, it is clear,
Damn,
loud
man,
and
that's
clear.
crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll go back and listen to the live stream later on just to see how it sounds. So MacD, not today, not here today.
I mean, I
Were
will try. I don't know what happened.
were you able
Something
to get
terrible
in
must have
contact with
happened.
him before? Or just
Not yet.
not too long ago
Uh,
from today?
y- no, today no. Yesterday
Oh,
only, yeah, but not today. I mean, I'll try to see. Maybe he would answer. So yeah, I mean,
okay.
nothing so far, which is totally odd. That's not. Yeah, that's totally strange. I have to say. Mm.
Let's go
But
back to
yeah.
world news.
Anyway. Hmm.
World ugliest photo contest.
I don't know. Like, I mean, the idea of seeing those whatever headlines shows that how, I mean, superficial people have gotten. If this makes it to the headlines, and that means they have nothing more to cover, that means we're literally doomed, man. It's so bad.
Oh, I'm actually just in the weird section of this website.
Mm.
But the reason why I looked this up, so it's just like just to make the podcast a little bit fun. But I also thought about doing something like this where I would I would talk about this on with AMC.
Yeah, that would be nice. Yeah. Do you have a class later?
No. I mean like doing those videos
Oh
series.
yeah, speaking of which, I mean, those videos that we're doing right now, they won't be published, right?
Oh, you mean
What we're
these?
recording, right?
I put them on
Yeah, I
the
mean, we're
unlisted. They are unlisted.
mm,
So only people with access to the link can see. Um,
I see. Okay.
yeah.
So, according to AMC, they said only full timers can do shoot videos. Sadly,
All right. That's right. Yeah, I forgot about that.
mm. Unless you're willing to volunteer.
Oh, I thought about it. Um,
Mm.
I yeah, we can talk about this off stream
Yeah,
because
yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right. So speaking of which, what do you think was the cause of the assassination attempt on Trump?
what
That
was
must
the
have been
cause?
something.
Oh, I found
Yes.
out another thing. I heard another theory. One YouTuber that I follow, he he heard about this theory and he did his analysis on it. They found out that there might be a second shooter. Well, it's pretty sure that there was a second shooter based on audio recordings because when the first three shots were fired, it came from one sound. It came from one rifle sound. And then the shots that fired afterwards, when the Secret Service covered up Trump, those shots sounded different and they came out at a different rate. Whereas the first three
Mm.
shots, they came out at a very consistent rhythm. You had the loading time, the fire time, and just the echo time. So they're speculating that there was another real sniper just, I think, in the hiding in the building below, within the building.
Mm.
I don't know. Who knows? There's going to be some investigation into this, but see, that's what I mean. Like, who's is this whole thing a setup? Does Trump know about it? I still don't. I still cannot believe if this was a setup. There's just no way because that famous photo you saw, there were people who got shot in that crowd. Now I don't know. Maybe that's just all part of the whole sacrifice. You know, it's kind of like
Or maybe it wasn't real bullets. Maybe.
no, there was one person that died. He was in the direct line of
Wow.
sight behind Trump or to the side of Trump.
Oh. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, one person died. Um, yeah, I don't know. Anyways,
And there you go with the freedom of speech.
yeah.
Even the president doesn't have the right to express whatever he wants to say, and whoever supports him are doomed.
Oh,
Is
it's
doomed.
if the deep state is trying to get rid of Trump like this, then we should expect more assassination attempts on him. I feel like there's going to be
Of
another
course.
one after he becomes president.
Hmm.
Wow, man, it's crazy. Anyway,
Yeah.
can I'm just gonna cancel or stop the stream now, and then we can reconnect afterwards. I want to go get something to eat from now. Haven't had dinner yet.
Okay.
Okay,
All
I'll
right.
call you back in a bit
Okay.
if you're still
All
free.
right. Sure.
Okay,
Of
see ya.
course. I only have a class at 10.
Okay, we'll see then.
So
We'll see.
until 9:40 I will be free.
Okay, all right.
All
Talk in
right.
a bit.